Prepare the way of the Lord.
Y'all can hear me, right? Yeah! All right, hey, let's give it up real quick for the band. Tonight we're going to have kind of an extended worship night. I promise you're not going to be here till 10 o'clock at night. Just call it extended because I'm talking less. We're going to sing a couple more songs. But something that we're doing that's really cool tonight, specifically tonight, is we're going to have two students share their story. And in that, they're going to share kind of a little bit of their hearts and their background, but ultimately how God has moved in their lives. Is that okay with you? That cool? All right, so if you would, I'm going to call Emily up. Emily, come on up. Y'all give it up, Emily. And Emily, you can introduce yourself and then take it away.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Well, my name is Emily Taylor. I am a second year at GMC. I've been coming here for the last couple of months, and all I can say is that Kudzu has really changed my life. At first, when I came here, I really didn't know what I was getting into. My best friends actually introduced me to Kudzu and really just said, this is a whole family. And believe it or not, this is very much a family. And I am very, very grateful to be here today. So I do want to say that part of this, of my story, it does include some mental and emotional abuse and as well as suicide. So if y'all are not comfortable with hearing that, then I'm okay, and I completely understand. If you have to leave, then please do. And then you come back for worship. So I'm going to get started. So my testimony is very, very personal to me. But so when I was younger, I knew who God was. And at first, I was living with my parents and going up to church and just Wednesday night activities and Christian summer camps, as in Mount Perrin Christian Church. And as an infant, my parents decided to move to Japan as missionaries. So the really cool thing was I was 7 months old at the time, and I was basically raised there. And so I went to kindergarten, I went to first grade, which it's called, in Japanese, it's called Yochien. And so I was very involved with my parents, making friends at churches, at the school, and growing up in a culture with the language so different and so oddly just crazy. It was just, I was able to learn the language. I was able to translate to my parents, and just basically I was the translator to my parents. I knew the language better than them. And to this day, I still know the language, which is really cool. And so my mom was an English teacher, my dad was a Bible teacher. And so when they had an opportunity, they went to build churches. And while doing that, they taught the gospel. And that's where I came in as a little child, as a baby. I was able to see that, and I loved it so much. And then going on December 5th, my little brother Zach was born in Japan, and he learned the language. We grew up, and we became, obviously brother and sister, and we were able to learn the culture. And then moving on to May 2009, this is where the stuff kind of escalated, kind of just goes up more. And my parents started to fight. They started not getting along. And it kind of bothered me because all I saw them doing as a little child is fight after every single conversation. They decided to finalize the divorce when they came back. And I just remember just feeling so stuck and feeling like I was not worth it because my mom never gave the attention that I wanted. And my dad, he was constantly going to work. So I would go back and forth for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and I hated it because I could not have a relationship with my dad. But during the summertime, I mostly just devoted my time to summer camps and learned the gospel. And so during those times, I saw that there was something that I needed. During these times where I was stuck and feeling like I was not worth it, I knew for a fact I needed God in my life. And that's what I kept on saying to myself. Some years passed, and I wanted to get baptized. And so I went to the children's directors when I was at least 9 years old. And so during that time, I was like, okay, I don't know what this means. I'm honestly just doing it out of pressure. And they asked me what my life verse was, and that was Psalms 119, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And I know that verse is very, very important to me because during those times, I knew that God could guide me to my path. And so I decided to get baptized on my birthday and my 10th birthday in 2012. I remember my dad, my mom, my grandparents, some friends, and afterwards I went back into the room and I was like, wow, I feel so clean. I feel so brand new. And then moving on, it's as the years passed, my mom and I got really distant. We started to fight every single day, and that's where I became feeling like I was in a bubble. I felt like I was in a box. I was limited on being able to see my dad, and I was only able to see my dad at least probably 2 times out of the whole month, or every single month. But when I went to my dad's, I felt safe. I had a emotional support system, and then when I realized, I felt like my mom didn't really care. I was getting emotionally and mentally abused. And during those times, my brother and I just didn't get along as well. But I remember feeling like, okay, honestly, it's not worth it anymore. And that's where I decided to almost commit suicide 3 times. And thank goodness that my brother was there because he saved me from the hardest time of my life. And then whenever I would go back to my dad's house, I would tell him all the troubles and all the stuff I was going through. And he would be like, when you're 14 years old, you can move out. I was like, okay, well, that might be in the cards for me. And I kept on praying about it. I asked God, what can I do in order to make my life better? And what can I do to make me feel like I'm worthy? So then, on August 16th, 2016, I moved out. And when that happened, I still felt stuck. I felt empty, and I knew exactly what I needed, but I didn't really do anything until I was in 8th grade, and I went to the Rising at Passion City Church. On April 25th, 2018, I decided to rededicate my faith. And the way that happened, the message was just, here's a tightrope, here's a humongous rope, and you're starting right at the end. Your end of your chapter is at the end of the rope. And when I realized that, I knew for a fact that I needed to live life how God wanted me to live life. So, and of course the pastor said, John 3:17, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. And when I remember hearing that verse, I was like, okay, now I'm starting to understand better. But now, moving on, I went through high school with not many friends, and I still felt, okay, I need to get out there and start doing, fun things, like going to prom, going to events for school, and doing a talent show, and just being my weird self, and just getting out there. But now, after 3 years of being in Milledgeville, I have experienced so much. I've become more independent. I've learned so many lessons. And importantly enough, I finally found a community. I found friends that will forever change my life and will be there for me no matter the consequences. But one very, very amazing experience that I had recently was about 2 months ago. I was kind of going through something kind of tough, and I had this sense of relief, or some sense that the Holy Spirit was talking to me. And so I decided to get up from the living room at my house, and I went downstairs, closed my door, and I decided to put on worship music and pull out my Bible and then some sticky notes. And the first song that came on was I'm Not Alone from Perry Joe. Now, if y'all know that song, it's a very slow, intimate song, and it explains you are not alone in this world. You are so worthy. You are worth every single penny, and you are not made for this. You are not a mistake. So when I heard that, I started crying. And during that whole time, it was at least 2 to 3 hours long. I was sitting on my bed, sitting on the edge of the bed, and for some reason, I decided to pull out my Bible and was like, God, please give me some type of sign or something to show me that you were there. And so I closed my eyes, and I pulled out my Bible, and I flipped to Psalm 61, and it says, God, hear my cry, pay attention to my prayer. I call you from the ends of the earth when my heart is without strength. Lead me to a rock that is high enough for me, and then be a refuge for me, a strong tower in the face of the enemy. When I live, your tent forever, and take refuge under the shelter of your wings. And it goes on saying, Psalm 63:1, God, you are my God. I eagerly seek you, and I thirst for you. And I just took these verses, and with everything going on these last couple of months, and then me feeling like I need to do something, I felt like God was pulling me to do something spontaneous. And that leads me to doing this. And so I started praying over friends. I started praying over family. And it leads me to going out to my hallway of my house. And I sat there in a dark hallway, and I was like, God, I want every single devil out of this house. I feel like this house is so stuck with bad intentions, just bad things happening, and I need something, just get it all out. Just need to get it all out. So I decided to scream and pray, and I said, devil, get out. You do not belong in this house. You are not welcome at all. And that's where I started feeling, it was like, okay, this is weird, because my friend's door opens. It was closed, and then it kind of opened. And I was like, wait a second. I went back into my room, I locked the door. And I was like, wait a second, I know this is the devil talking to me. Just, no, you're not going to you're not going to be feared from the devil. So I decided to go back out. I closed the door, and I stand right in front of her door. And I'm like, one more time, get out. You do not belong here. You are not welcomed. And I say that a couple more times, and the door comes wide open, and so does her bathroom door. And I'm like, I just keep on doing it. And then with this, I started writing sticky notes. And I'm like, okay, God, I surrender. I surrender. I give everything to you. Now, I am standing in front of y'all today, telling y'all, even though you have been through tough things, or you may not feel like you are worthy of being here, God is with you. And it took me a very long time to see that. But now, with the support system, with my friends, with my family, I finally feel that He is with me. And to close that out, I believe that I have a forever friend in life. I know that I am not perfect, but perfect in God's eyes. I'm still going through trials. I'm not perfect, and no one is. I make mistakes. But I know for a fact that God will keep me on my feet and will guide me through the past. And once again, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And yeah, so do not take for anything for granted. God is the one person you can rely on. It might seem hard at times, but you are not alone.
Thank you. Y'all give it up for her one more time. Look, stories matter. Good, bad, ugly, in between, they matter. God is at work in and through your life in some really cool, some crazy ways. And I hope you heard her heart. Her struggles, life, moving to a new culture, bouncing back and forth, having just rough relationships, and then in the midst of it all, there was still a tug in her heart. She kept saying, "You are mine. You are mine." And I want you to hear that, not from me, because I can talk all the time, but when it comes from someone else that God is doing something crazy in, I think it's way more powerful than this guy just standing here talking to you. So I hope you heard that. I believe we're going to sing another song, songs. And so worship team, y'all will come back up. As they do, I'm going to pray for us real quick, and then we'll jump right into the song. Father, thank you so much again for Emily and her story. Lord, I pray that if there was anyone in here struggling with that thought, that they would know that you are near to them. Through the hard, through the difficult moments, that you are near. Life is not perfect. You are. In the midst of all that, you call us back to yourself, no matter what. So Lord, thank you. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Y'all can stand like this.
Fulfill
done this a million times, like I said, I don't know how to do this. So today is kind of unique. Every Easter we tend to kind of do this, which is like an extended worship set, and then we talk. This is the first year we did it with different stories. You'll hear one more at the end. But I wanted to kind of hit on the importance of kind of tomorrow. Many of you know, for those of you that have been in the Christian faith for a while, tomorrow is? Yeah, good job. Tomorrow is Good Friday, which is a unique name, especially for what happens on Good Friday. And so this is kind of the scene. Let me lay the scene out. So Jesus has been betrayed by one of his own disciples who has followed him for 3 years, studying under him, learning under him. And then Jesus has a final meal with his disciples. And then one of those disciples goes, collects some coin, a couple of silver pieces, and decides to betray his friend, Jesus. And so Jesus is betrayed. He's gone before Pilate. He is mocked. He is beaten. And then he has to carry his own cross to the hill and die on that cross. He is nailed to the cross. And in Mark chapter 15, this is kind of the scene that he kind of puts out for us. He says, and when the 6th hour had come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you forsaken me? This is a famous line, a line that many pastors like to preach on. Good Friday is a line that many will speak on, but I think a lot of times that line stops there. My God, why have you forsaken me? When you do a little studying, you realize that Jesus is crying out in his agony and pain, my God, why have you forsaken me? But you need some context. You see, Jesus was a good Jew. Jesus knew the old scriptures. Jesus knew the Psalms. Now, if you have a Bible, turn to Psalm 22. Psalm 22. When you have it, say, got it. Verse 1. Verse 2. Psalm 22. There's another one. There you go. There you go. There you go. Let's go. Popcorn to sing. Yeah. All right. Oh. Let's go. That was weird. Yeah. Let's give that time to reboot. But, all right. So y'all got it? Got it. Everyone's like, I got it now. I don't know what that was, but I'm going to get a Bible. If you don't have a Bible, there are some over there for free. You can have one. All right. I want to do something that may be a little weird. I want you all to read verse 1. Y'all ready? Out loud. Y'all ready? I'll let you know. I'll count down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then everyone read verse 1 of Psalm 22. Okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish?
Everyone's like, no, that's good. Good job. There you go. Everyone has different versions. That's okay. My goddess. I didn't hear that one. No, but Psalm 22 is written way before Jesus is even on the scene in his human form. And what does he cry out on the cross? My God, why have you forsaken me? Many believe, scholars believe, that what Jesus was actually doing, he wasn't saying, God has forsaken me, but rather he was praying the Psalms. I'm going to give you 4 quick points. I'm going to knock these out and we're done, I promise. Number 1, Jesus prayed in his most desperate moment. Jesus prayed in his most desperate moment. Number 2, Jesus never forgot what his mission was. Jesus never forgot what his mission was. He prayed in his desperate moment, and he never forgot why he came to do what he did. Number 3, Jesus loved. Listen clearly. Jesus loved the voices of those who hated him. Jesus loved the voices who hated him. Not like as in like, oh yeah, I'm going to gloat in this. No. It was more like, I am doing this for you. Jesus loved the voices of those who hated him. Number 4, Jesus is the completed work of God. Jesus is the completed work of God. You see, when you read this psalm, it says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? From the words of my groaning. Oh my God, I cry day by day, but you do not answer. And by night, I find no rest. Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In you our fathers trusted. They trusted and you delivered them. To you they cried and were rescued. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him rescue him from his delights. From him. For he delights in him. Imagine Jesus on the cross as he is praying this prayer, as he is trying to say these words, gasping for air, and people are mocking him, and he is just reciting this psalm that is just reminding him of what is happening in his current state. Yet, in verse 9, yet you are he who took me from the womb. You made me trust you at my mother's breast. On you was I cast from birth, and from my mother's womb you have been my God. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Many bulls encompass me. Strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open wide their mouths at me like ravaging and roaring lion. I am poured out like water. All my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted within my breast. My strength is dried up like potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of death, for dogs encompass me. A company of evildoers encircle me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They stare and they gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. But you, O Lord, do not be far off. You, my help, come quickly to my aid. Deliver my soul from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dogs. Save me from the mouth of the lion. You have rescued me from the horns of the wild oxen. I will tell of your name to my brothers in the midst of the congregation. I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. All you offsprings of Jacob, glorify him, and stand in awe of him, all you offspring of Israel. For he has not despised or borne the affliction of the afflicted, and he has not hidden his face from him. But he has heard when he cried to him. From you comes my praise in the great congregation. My vow I will perform before those who fear him. The afflicted shall eat and be satisfied. Those who seek him shall praise the Lord. May your heart live forever. All the ends of the earth shall remember to turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations shall worship before you. For kingship belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. All the prosperers of the earth eat and worship before him shall bow, all who go down to the dust, even the one who could not keep himself alive. Prostrate shall serve him. Posterity shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord to the coming generation. They shall come and proclaim his righteousness to a people yet unborn. And I'm not going to say this last one because this is my point. Jesus is talking about himself, and he is praying to the Father above, saying, rescue me. And then David at the end there, choir master of David at the end, says, all generations will talk about this. All generations will talk about what this man has done. Literally, it ends by saying that he has done it. Do you remember Jesus' last words? Oh, say it proud. Say it loud. It is finished. Meaning, he has completed the work he was sent to do. David says he has done it, and Jesus says, yes, I have finished the work. So 4 things I got to ask you. If Jesus prayed in his most desperate moment, what do you do in your most desperate moment? Do you pray and run to the Father, or do you complain and get angry and run away? What would you do in your most desperate moment? Number 2, Jesus never forgot his mission. Have you forgotten the calling that God has over your life? Have you forgotten it? Number 3, Jesus loved the voices of the haters. Is there love in your heart for those who don't like you? Is there love in your heart for those who speak ugly against you? And lastly, Jesus is the completed work. Do you believe Jesus is the completion of God's plan? I find Good Friday to be one of the most impactful things in my personal life. And Ben, you can come on up. Because it is one of the moments where I realized that yes, Jesus was nailed to the cross. Yes, Jesus endured the pain. And yes, Jesus took the mockery, the abuse, verbal, emotional, physical. It wasn't just for the people in the crowd. It was for me. You see, when they were mocking him, saying, come off the cross, I can imagine him saying, no, I've got to do this for Jonathan. No, I've got to do this for my beloved daughter, my son, because if I come off, they will always be enslaved to that sin. Good Friday is good because Jesus lived the perfect life to be the perfect sacrifice. You see, Jesus was taken, and he said yes to the mission, to the call that God had over his life, and he stayed focused. He stayed focused and determined, and he said, to the cross I go. I will make disciples. I will empower and give my wisdom to these young men and women so that they can go and continue the work that God has sent me on. Because when I say it is finished, they will have the power to continue and complete everything else. If you look at Scripture, it says, greater things, Jesus says, you will do in my name. And I've gone long. But Good Friday is only Good Friday because Jesus was the perfect sacrifice. And Good Friday is good for you and for me. He doesn't want you to forget that. Yes, Easter is coming. Sunday is coming. Resurrection is coming. But there'd be no resurrection if there was no cross. There'd be no cross if there wasn't a life lived perfectly. So don't just run just to the cross. The cross is important and we need it all. But don't forget that Jesus lived the perfect sacrifice for you. That Jesus obeyed all that his Father called him to do for you. And Jesus went to the cross with you in mind. With me in mind. With you in mind. And he endured the pain and suffering of what death was like. And he gasped and he says, I give you my spirit. I trust in what you're going to do, Father. Because he was the complete work. Do you believe that? Because if you do, Easter Sunday is good news. Because it means that Jesus went into death and through death and came on the other side victorious for you and for me. I got to catch that. It means that Jesus went into death, through death, and came out victorious, saying, what's up? What's up? back for you and for me. That's why Good Friday is good. That's why these stories are so good. Because it's Jesus saying the enemy ain't going to take what's mine. I've defeated him. You're mine. Maybe you've been a little stubborn, and that's okay. Jesus knows how to deal with stubborn people. Just ask Peter. Just ask Peter. Jesus knows how to deal with doubters. Ask Thomas. Jesus knows how to deal with the zeros and ones type of people. Ask Matthew. I mean, I could go on and on. We'd be here forever. Blake would be like, John, please stop talking. And I'll leave you with this. When Jesus says, it is finished, it's finished. His work was completed, and nothing can ever undo what Christ has already done for you. And if you believe that, stand up. We're going to worship. And as we worship, I want you to just think about what Christ did for you. And if he has done something for you, if he has taken you from the place you used to be to the place where you are, and he is still on the journey, if you are still on the journey, then these next songs, close your eyes, do not worry about the neighbor next to you, and just worship him. And if you need something to be thankful for, or to worship the Creator for, worship him because you still have breath in your lungs. Worship him because he said you are forgiven. Worship him because he said that the work of Christ on the cross was accepted. Just a couple to name a few. Father, as we come to you again in worship, I ask that you would open our hearts to this. Open our hearts to worship you. Open our hearts to realize what you've done for us. That Good Friday is Good Friday. Lord, if there is any in here who's struggling to realize that reality, to realize that truth, would you open their eyes? Open their eyes, Father, like the men on the road to Emmaus. Open their eyes like the disciples, like Mary at the tomb when she was asking, where is my Savior's body? And you appeared and you said, Mary. And she opened her eyes and saw that it was you, resurrected in fullness and glory. Some of us need to hear you call our name. Some of us need to feel you. Some of us need for you to restore our hearts back to you. I'm so thankful that you are willing to do all those things for us. Wicked men and women who have chosen to do their way. Thank you. For all this in Christ's holy name.
Behold the Lamb upon the cross, who takes away the sins of all. Forgiveness flows from hands and feet as violence meets the Prince of Peace. Behold the King, Light of the world, Lamb that was slain, Lion who rose, he's mighty to save. The fullness of God won't be kept in the grave. Darkness, your hour is over. Behold the love, his dying plea.
I'm excited for you all to hear Alyssa's story as she comes up to share. Let me get her mic. Y'all give it up for Alyssa.
I'm going to preface this with two things. One, I have the most stage fright you will ever think of someone could have, even though it may not seem like it, so bear with me. I also have really bad ADHD, so if I bounce from place to place, y'all bear with me. So, my name's Alyssa, if you guys have not met me. I am on the baking team here at Kudzu. I am a sophomore, and I've been coming to Kudzu a little over a year now, which is crazy, thinking about just like the small amount of time that I've been coming here and the connections that I've made in the community that I've built. But it's also crazy to think of where I came from that has led me to here. So I want to take you guys back a little bit and tell you guys kind of about how the Lord has worked through my life and just how He has changed my view on life in general. So I grew up in a Catholic household. I grew up in not the healthiest household, if I'm going to be honest. I did not have a great relationship with my parents, and I'm not super close to my family, except for my little sister Erica, who I will tell you guys a little bit about later. But growing up, my idea of love was very skewed. I viewed love as something that was transactional, something that was conditional, and that had to be earned. And so this really led into the way that I viewed the Lord and the way that I viewed His love. I thought it was something that I had to earn, and if I failed, that was why bad things happened, because I messed up, and that I didn't deserve that love if I messed up. And so that bled into my relationship with the Lord, relationship with friends. I did not have the best friends growing up, especially in middle school. I got bullied a bit, and all I wanted, little Alyssa, all she wanted was just to feel some sort of love. And to me, that was conditional, because that's what I had been taught that it was. And so I wanted to make myself into something that people would love, because I felt like the way that I was not going to get me that. And so I had also been told that the things that I had been going through, my problems were other people's problems were worse. So I shouldn't talk about them because other people have worse things going on and their problems are heavier, and that burdens them for me to tell them that. So I let that belief and that lie lead into my relationships, my friendships, and my relationship with the Lord. Y'all, I used to be like, oh no, God has bigger problems. Like, He doesn't need to hear about my things. So I decided to make myself what other people wanted me to be. So I made myself into the person who's happy all the time, smiling all the time, laughing, giggling, always positive, always doing good, doesn't talk about what's going on, doesn't have any struggles. Because that's what I thought people wanted me to be, and that's what I thought people loved, and I wanted to be loved so badly. But I didn't know what love was, if I'm being honest. And the Lord had so much love He wanted to give me, but I couldn't accept it because I didn't know how to. And so I put this face on. and I isolated myself because, y'all, I was struggling. I want to give a little warning. I'm going to talk a little bit about anxiety and a little bit about depression. So if that is something that is uncomfortable for you to hear about, or if that is triggering, if you need to step out of the room, that is totally okay. I isolated myself from the Lord because I thought my problems He did not need to hear. And I thought that I was undeserving of Him to hear my problems. And I isolated myself from my friends and my family. And so God had all this love He was willing to give me, but I was not willing to accept it because I didn't believe I deserved it. And then I started going to this non-denominational youth group called Altar, and it was my first experience with people who unconditionally loved, who came up to me and wanted to talk to me, wanted to get to know me, and wanted to hear my heart and the things I was going through. And I had nothing to give them, which was so weird for me. They wanted to hear what was going on about me without me offering something in return. And so God showed me that He wanted a relationship with me through these people. And I wanted a relationship with Him too, but I wanted it on my own terms. So I kept one foot in and one foot out. And I told Him some things that I was struggling with, but not the big things, because I was like, no, because I need to fix this first before I give it to God, because I'm broken and I need to fix myself before I give it to the Lord. And so in my mind, I was like, I'm strong in my faith. I'm talking to the Lord. I'm ready for this college thing. And then I came to college, and I was strong in my faith. And I got really lonely when it started. I wanted instant gratification, as the world says we need. I wanted to feel better right then and there when I started, and I didn't. And so then I looked to other things, to distractions, to worldly things, to friends who did not have my best interest at heart, to a boyfriend, to parties, to what the world says will fill your void, because I had a gaping hole in my soul. And so I tried so hard to fill it with so many different things. And it never filled anything. And I wanted everything to happen on my time, that I just missed the Lord's time. And then over winter break of my freshman semester, everything was catching up to me what was going on. All my feelings, all my emotions, my loneliness, everything was starting to catch up to me. And I was so anxious, and I was just in this deep pit of depression because I would not give it to the Lord. Because I am so stubborn. I think I need to do things by myself, but we were never meant to. We were never meant to carry these burdens by ourselves. And the Lord never asked us to. And so my smart mind was like, you know what? You know what would be better than feeling this hurt, this pain, this sadness, not feeling anything at all? So I said, you know what? Nope, I'm done with these feelings things. I came back second semester feeling nothing. I pushed my emotions away, I suppressed them, and I was just going through emotions. And I came to Kudzu once or twice, but I was still just shut off from the world into accepting love around me. And then this sweet girl named Hannah Vance, who was the intern last year, she was like, hey, would you like to come bake with me this week? And I was like, sure, I guess. I get it, my last name's Baker, that's so funny. And so I came and I baked with her. And then she asked me again next week, hey, would you like to come bake with me? And I was like, sure. And then these two really cool girls, Grace and Melinda, y'all know Melinda, Grace was here last year. They were like, hey, can we go get Chick-fil-A with us? And I was like, why are they so nice to me? Because I have nothing to offer them. So why is it, what do they want from me? Because I'm just me. And they're them. They're these cool, holy people who are leaders, and what do I have? Why do they want to hang out with me? And so I started getting involved in Kudzu, and it became this beautiful thing that the Lord had placed in my life. But I started coming just because of the people, I'm not going to lie. I wanted a community, I wanted friends, and I started building that, and it was so amazing. But by the end of my freshman year, I had built all these relationships with friends, but I kind of took the God part out of it. And They didn't realize it till this year. And so I went home for the summer. I went on this mission trip. I was on my Jesus kick. And then I went back home. And home is really hard for me, if I'm going to be honest with y'all. Home is really hard for me. And I fell right back into that same spot. I felt like I never wanted to go home, of depression and anxiety. And I would not give it to the Lord, because deep down, even though people after people were telling me I was enough, the Lord wants my struggles. In my eyes, I'm this broken person who has screwed up so many times. Why would He want me? Why would He want to talk to me and spend time with me? And then I joined Kudzu leadership. And I was like, okay, this is going to be super cool. This is a way that I'm going to be able to help other people and lead them to the Lord. Oh my goodness, y'all. I don't think anything has led me more than being a part of this team. It has pushed me to be real with myself, and the fact that there are times when I'm not okay, and that is okay. And it has humbled me a lot, because I'm so stubborn. Like when Jonathan was talking about Jesus knows how to deal with stubborn people, he does, because I'm as stubborn as they come. I don't want to ask for help, and anyone can tell you that. But I've had to be humbled, because we're not meant to do things alone. I know that I can do things, but the Lord is like, I have so much for you. And I have so many people who love you and want to be there for you. You just have to say yes. It's not your job to make it through these things. And my anxieties, my worries, I started to just give them to the Lord. And I'm not talking about just the things that we know He can do. I'm talking about all things. I started to give Him my deepest, darkest worries, and just be like, Lord, at this point, I'm struggling. I can't do this anymore. Like, here I am, all of me. This is all I have left, and I give it to you. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I want to be real with you, because I want you guys to see. Right now, I'm in one of the hardest stages of my life. I have been battling with so much right now, and hurt and just anxiety and worries. But I've also never been more at peace with anything in my entire life. Money, family, school, life. But being with the Lord, spending time with Him, spending time in His Word, it doesn't make it easier, but it makes it lighter. I don't know how to describe it, but He doesn't take away the pain, but He carries it with you. He walks alongside it with you. Y'all, I'm naturally a very pessimistic person, and it may not come off like that, but growing up in the household that I did, I'm very pessimistic, and all I can see sometimes is the very worst. And growing up, being surrounded by that was really hard. But the Lord, letting the Lord into your mind, letting the Lord see all of you, and letting Him shift your perspective has changed everything for me. Because there are some things in my life that have sucked. There are some hardships that I could never have explained. Or there felt like there was no sight, no goodness inside of it. But the Lord has brought so much grace through those. One of them I'm going to share real quickly. My little sister Erica, who I mentioned earlier. Some of you have heard of her, some of you haven't. She is the light of my life, the most joyful person you will ever meet in your entire life. She has special needs, so she has these 2 diseases. Both are terminal, and her life expectancy was between 8 and 12. And I can proudly say that she is 15, going to turn 16 in August, which is so amazing. I used to be so mad at God, guys. I used to be so mad at God. Like, why did you give this beautiful baby girl it's hardship. Because she has so much life and so much love she gives. She is the person who carried me through life. God knew someone, like Jessie and I were talking about this earlier, and she just brought so much light by saying, God knew that you struggle with positivity, and He knew you needed a light in your life, and He sent you one. My angel on earth. She has been through more than anyone I've ever met. She is mentally 3 years old, and she loves me better than anyone I know outside of the Lord. And she has shown me what the Lord's love, like a snippet of the Lord's love is going to look like. And she is my taste of heaven on earth because the Lord has worked through her struggles onto me. And if the Lord can do that through a baby girl who can't even speak, y'all, I know life is really hard and there's so much going on. College is so hard. Family is so hard. Easter is really hard when family is hard. And if you're going through that, I'm so sorry because I know it weighs. Even if you want to say it doesn't weigh, it weighs. And whether it's not family, whether you're close with your family, there is so much going on in this stage of our lives. There's so much good in the world, and the society will not say that. Society says that the world is the worst it's ever been. There's so much negativity in the world, and it hurts. It hurts us, and it hurts everyone around us. But there is so much goodness in the world. If the Lord can use this 3-year-old baby girl, not 3-year-old, 15-year-old baby girl to spread joy to other people, and if I can there's so much negativity I can find in that. There's so much negativity I can pull from her situation, and that I have. I don't know when she's going to die. I don't. And I don't know if she's going to be at my wedding. But if she's not at my wedding, she's going to have the best dang seat up in heaven. And that is amazing. There is so much good in the world. Sometimes you just got to look for it, because what you look for, you're going to find. If you look for negativity, you're going to find it. If you look for positivity, I promise you, you will find it. There's this analogy, and I'm going to end soon, because I know y'all have been here a long time. There's this analogy that I love to think of. I love the night sky, and I love stars. And when you're looking at a bright light, it's dissociating, it starts to give you a headache. And then if you look at the night sky, you don't see a lot of stars because you've been so stuck on this bright light, and you still see parts of that bright light. If you ever stared at a flashlight, you know what I'm talking about. But if you give it a second and you start looking at the stars, or the sky, you'll start to see some stars. And the longer you look, the more that you'll see. And y'all, there are so many stars in the sky that you can't see, but they're there. And there are some nights you're going to see more, and some nights they're just going to be hidden. And you have to trust that they're there, because you know that they're there. The Lord is so good, and it's hard for us to see that. And in our trials, life is so hard, y'all. I'm struggling right now. I am. But I know that the Lord's got me, and I know that through this all, something good will come. He died on the cross for us because He loves us. He made the ultimate sacrifice so that we could live this life. Y'all, this place is special. This community is special. Because the Lord is here with us, and it's not just the people. The Lord is in each and every one of us, and He moves so much in this place. This is one of those positives, one of those lights. Because if I didn't have this, I don't know where I'd be right now. I know it wouldn't be a good place, guys. If I didn't have some of the people this place has brought me, this would be a very different year for me. So, I just want to leave y'all with just a challenge, because we love challenges at Kudzu. Look for the little lights in your life, because they're there. And if you can't see that light, be that light for somebody else, because some people really need it. I know I really needed it in my head. I had this baby girl put in my life. I had this beautiful girl named Hannah ask me to become big. And it's little things. It doesn't have to be big things. But those lights are there. So please look for them. And if they're not there and you can't see them, please be that for somebody else. Because we're all going through it and life's really hard. But Jesus loves you. The Lord loves you. Kudzu loves you guys. And I love y'all. And we just want you guys, if you're struggling, don't be stubborn. Ask for help because the Lord can handle. He's a big boy. He can handle all your problems. He wants to hear all your problems. We need to be less prideful. We're so prideful with our problems. I'm a very prideful person. I think I could go through myself, but I was never meant to. I was never built to. So, I'm going to close this in prayer, and then we're going to lead in one last worship song. But as we do that, just think about it. Think about the lights in your life and all that you have to be thankful for. And the hard things, praise the hard things. Because you never know, you never realize what the other side's going to be like until you go through those valleys. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Because I thought I was going to read all these notes, but I just did not. Okay, I'm going to close this in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this place. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and praise you. You are so good, Lord, and you bring so much goodness and life into this hard world. We are all broken, but we are whole and we are with you, Lord. So please remind us of that. Please help us to see that you made us perfect. You wouldn't change a thing about us. It's not about who we are, but it's about whose we are and who you say that we are. In your Lord's name we pray. Amen.
I am chosen. you.